I think.
You cut out there.
Oh, okay. Edit point. No,
Hey.
that's staying in. No, sorry everyone. I'm not as like a thorough editor as Joe. I'm just gonna leave all these fuck ups in here. Oh well. But
Don't worry, it adds character. It's like
adds adds
seasoning.
adds character, adds seasoning, adds
Spice.
amateurness. Hello everyone, my name is Ralph Thompson. I am taking over hosting responsibilities this week because Sweet Sweet Joe is unfortunately away, and because Sweet Joe is normally away, things might sound a little different this week because he's also like our editor, and I will be taking over editing responsibilities, and I have never edited a podcast before, so if things sound like a little weird, it's probably my fault, but you know, I don't want to take all the blame. So joining me this week is lovely Arran. Hey Arran, what's the good?
Oh, you're such a sweetheart. It's a shame Valentine's Day is just literally passed, but
What did you do for Valentine's?
let me think. Nothing.
Fair enough.
Nothing at all. I am enjoying being a single man, which equates to sitting on my PC and playing one of 3 video games.
No, that's quite funny. I also played video games for my Valentine's Day. I think I tried watching. What else is it? No, I watched I watched Patriots Day, which is not a romantic film. It's about the Boston bombings, but
So, oh,
yeah, it's
the most ideal thing to watch on Valentine's
hi,
Day.
honey. Let's watch a film about terrorism. But it's
Hey, honey, have you seen Fahrenheit 9/11?
9/11.
I love that movie, though.
Yeah, Fahrenheit 9/11 is a very good film. We're unfortunately not here to talk. We're not here to talk about films proper, but they might come into discussion at some point because what we're going to focus on in this little old Mini-Munch is animation. Something we haven't covered before, something we're quite excited to cover, and something we know nothing
Jack shit about. It takes a long time.
It takes a very long time. It's very, very difficult, and Akira is a really good film. those are my animation know-hows.
I've been meaning to see Akira recently. I've heard I watched the end scene, right?
What? Wait, why have you watched the ending?
It's I saw it to be truthful. I saw it on a top 10 list. I can't remember top 10.
Okay, that makes sense.
But and then I was like, holy, what the fuck? So I decided to go and find a seat, and I watched it, and I was horrified and amazed at the same time.
This be a giant flesh monster.
Yes, but I thought there was no other reason to watch the film, and then
no, dude.
I found out it was actually good, and I
There's a million
did you see the Nerdwriter video on the film itself?
I don't think I've watched his on Akira, but I've watched his his kind of look at how time and space are presented in Ghost in the Shell, which is another classic Japanese anime.
I think that's what I was meaning, actually, because that's the one where they compare he compares the use of color and stuff.
Oh no, yeah. So there's actually multiple. For those who don't know, the Nerdwriter is this exceptionally popular and very, very good kind of YouTuber who kind of focuses on art, all sorts of different types of art, and looks at the philosophy or the technique behind it. But
many video essays, yes.
Many video essays. But yeah, I think the one you're talking about is how cities, or how the space is represented in the Ghost in the Shell remake versus how it's represented in the original.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. It's been a long time since I've watched it.
Yeah.
I like the cities in both of those, but yeah, the one in the original anime feels way dirtier and grimier and lived in a lot more. The new one is cool. It's like a fun CGI filled, hologram filled future city. And I love those. I'm a sucker for those. But I love. Of course. Just holograms are fun, dude. I want them everywhere.
Holograms.
I love them.
So many people say they're impractical. What we have now is pretty sufficient. We're not going to advance to holograms, but you never know.
I can see as kind of moving into that realm if things like robotics doesn't get there first.
Fair point. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, I can see, like you watch a sci-fi film and like a hologram will pop up when somebody walks into like a corporation's headquarters, and it'll be like, "Hello, welcome to Da 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 Tech. Here you will see our vast history of when we were," and like they're always there in a film to like give you really basic expository information. But like,
I don't know why, but I thought of Terminator Genesis there and Skynet.
I've still to see Terminator Genesis,
Oh,
and by still to see, I mean I never will. But yeah, animation.
okay. Can I start off by talking about Spirited Away? Because
yeah, of course, dude.
it's probably my favorite animated film. It's probably a bit generic to say that, but it's so good. I was saying to Ralph just before the podcast started, I rewatched it recently and just love it so much. Like there's so many aspects I can appreciate now from not being a snot-nosed like 5-year-old watching it, playing with like Lego and stuff. Not much has changed other than I would consider myself snot-nosed. But
okay, that's good. It's nice to have some self-esteem.
But yeah, it's so beautiful. Like
yeah, like in terms of like the art style, because it's Studio Ghibli, is like obviously pretty much the best in the world. This amazing like mix of classical Asian kind of fantasy with this hyper realistic animation style is absolutely amazing to look at. But
there's barely any companies now though that actually do hand-drawn animation. I think like
it's
widely
pretty much
commercial.
Pretty much all moved into CGI.
Yeah,
well, not just computer generated graphics, but most animation will be done using a computer. Is what I kind of meant by that.
Of course, yeah. Like I think Disney's last one was like what, A Princess and the Frog, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah. They've completely moved away from it, which is such a shame. Even though I fundamentally disagree with pretty much like every moral stance that a Disney film, not every single moral stance, but like I disagree with a lot of Disney's films, and I certainly think Walt Disney was a total fucking scumbag. But you can't help but be unbelievably impressed by their animation.
Of course,
at least I was as a kid, but it's funny you mentioning Spirited Away, because a really clear memory I have when I was like 7 or 8 years old was coming out of school and my dad picking up me and my little brother.
Yeah.
And he was like incredibly excited, and he's like, "We need to go home and watch this film right now. We need to go home and watch this film right now." And he like drove to Blockbuster, like got this VHS tape, and like rushed us home. And we're like, "Oh my god, what is it?" And he's like, "It's this Japanese animation. You're gonna love it." And I remember him saying something like, "It's gonna show you Walt Disney is shit." It's like okay.
Even though Disney will actually distributed it, even though you can't get away from Disney.
Yeah, even though Disney owned the rights to all the publishing, but yeah, we went home and we ended up watching. It was Princess Mononoke.
Oh yeah. It was like 97.
Yeah, it's a good. I think it turned 25 last year. I think.
Jesus.
No,
Christ.
sorry, not 25. It turned 20.
20.
Yeah, it turned 20 last year, and I remember watching that film, and there's like a shot that's about 10-15 minutes into it where the main character is riding on his deer creature thing through this bit of flat grassland. And there was just the way that the animators managed to show you this huge wide shot of this vast landscape, and you could see the grass blowing in the wind. And it was just like this neat little touch. And looking back on it, all they did was they changed the colour on kind of strips of grass and just made them a much lighter tone of green to make it look as if they'd been blown over. And like that's all they did. They weren't drawing individual blades of grass turning. It was just a simple change in the colour. And just that like that small, tiny touch just like evoked so many incredible feelings in me. Like seeing
that's awesome.
This vast landscape that moved in a way I recognised as being real, which is something I didn't remember seeing in like a Western animation.
It's the little things, definitely.
Yeah, it's tiny things make all the difference in anime. Not just anime, animation. To me, an animated TV show or film or video or whatever feels cheap and lazy if people and things in the background don't move.
Yeah, like I've got to the point where I appreciate like stuff like flags moving and stuff,
Yeah.
like that, and backgrounds, and it's really cool because some of the techniques, like I don't know, at least Studio Ghibli use, like take forever, and yet your eyes not drawn to them; they're just in the background. But it makes the whole thing so much more immersive.
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
only got Spirited Away to talk about, unfortunately. But
You haven't seen any of their other stuff?
I really want to see Princess Mononoke
Yeah,
because
that's
they talked about that a lot in interviews and stuff.
yeah, that film
When
is real special.
awesome, and Howl's Moving Castle. Like,
Also really good.
yeah, I thought that because I looked at its IMDb page after like rewatching, sorry, Spirited Away,
Hmm.
and it was 2005, and it was still directed by like Miyazaki. And I thought he was going to hang up his coat, and like Spirited Away was going to be his last film.
Oh, for
But,
years, his
yeah.
whatever film he was on was going to be his last film, and
Yeah.
then they would draw him back in. Pun not intended.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there.
I didn't do it on purpose, but thanks for applauding.
That was very good. I'm very much a dad joke pun person.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hey, we got our dad quota, but
Hey.
finally. No,
Brilliant.
yeah, I'm trying to think. There was a film I watched a little bit ago actually, and rather brilliantly, it's been nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Red Turtle.
Oh no.
Okay.
No, I don't. It was I can't remember. It was something called something name, I think.
Oh, Call Me by Your Name. No,
Yeah,
wait, no. Call Me by Your Name is a film about like a lovers, gay lovers.
Oh
in
yeah,
Italy.
so it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, that's not animated at all.
Oh yeah, my bad. No, it's something. No, I think it might not even have its
something
name.
something name.
It's on the top 250 IMDb.
Yeah, I
'cause
keep seeing posters for it. It's not. Why are there two films that are meant to be really amazing that have really similar titles? This is very annoying. Why did they both come
Damn
out
it.
really close to each other?
That's a pain in the ass.
It's not Say My Name, because Say My Name is a really bad title.
Yeah.
I love
See,
your...
it sounds like a
No, wait, hang
Breaking
on.
Bad
Isn't...
spin-off.
Wait, Say My Name is like a Destiny's Child song. Shit, what is it? This, dear listeners, is the part where I Google something.
I'm already looking for it.
What
just by
is-
combing over.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even click on my search bar.
I remember the. Oh God, please still be on the list. I remember the poster, and it's like a boy and a girl.
Yeah, like school kids.
Yeah, and they're like looking at each other. I
Mhm.
think maybe a hill's behind them or something.
Yeah.
Like there's certainly somewhere like where it's grassy and nice looking.
Yeah, no, I know Mark Kermode made it one of his films of the year, who's a film critic I really, really, really love. And I know it got like a lot of incredibly good reviews when it came out, but it's kind of an unfortunate thing is that animation in general doesn't get the same attention.
Oh yeah, I heard like the Oscars are kind of, well, not necessarily just the Oscars, but they kind of don't understand it. Like, what was Boss Baby nominated for? It was Best Animation or
Yeah,
something.
Boss Baby was nominated for Best Animation, which is a weird, not good thing.
Yeah. You can tell like they're probably all
What
doing
the
like
fuck was
cocaine.
that?
Your Name, it's Your Name.
That
That's
was it. Your Name. Okay, it was a much simpler title.
I see it. Yeah. I see it here. Two strangers find themselves linked in a bizarre way. When a connection forms, will distance be the only thing keeping them apart?
Right. Yeah. It's a body swap story.
Oh really? Wait, like a boy and a girl body swap?
Yeah. Which
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, it's like immediately. It's like on paper, it's full of things that immediately put me off because I think body swap stories are normally really shit. It's like lots of just very bad jokes, but like, oh, that's what girls do. Oh, that's what boys do. And then on top of that, it's another Japanese animated film about school kids. So
Yeah.
don't need to
You're
watch.
gonna make some assumptions.
Make some assumptions, and then on top of that, I don't want to watch like another, like that's not special. that's 90% of anime.
This is pretty cliche.
This is
It's
pretty
got-
cliche. But yeah, apparently it's like utterly spellbinding and is one of the best, kind of most understated and relevant films that's come out in ages. Unfortunately, neither of us have seen it, so we can't.
Yeah.
So we can't tell anyone if it's any
Damn
good.
it! Why did we do this one about animation?
Why did we do this one about
It's all my
animation?
fault though for suggesting it
For
after
suggesting
watching
animation.
stop motion Lego videos and like weird YouTube videos and Spirited Away.
That stuff's always great fun.
I
That
love
stuff's
just
always
going
great fun.
over stuff in like YouTube, like just clicking on random videos and being like, "Oh wow, what a waste of time! Oh wait, that was great."
Have you found anything like good recently?
This guy called Felix Colgrave makes some absolutely mind-bending like animations, and only when I realized that the one I put in the chat, Double King, took over 2 years to make, and it's only like 8-9 minutes long, but it's so pretty looking, and there's so much effort put into it, and it's funny, and you can quite clearly tell there's like a message about greed.
Yeah, like greed and dominance.
Yeah.
For those who haven't watched it, it's a very good kind of short film, I guess. Called Double King. So yeah, just go on YouTube and look for Double King, and it's essentially
you won't be disappointed.
No, you won't. If you like Monty Python, I think you'll notice quite a lot of similar kind of like quirkiness.
Good point. I never actually made that like correlation.
It was just the way they draw like the creatures. Are very very kind of exaggerated and like a bit odd.
Simple googly eyes.
Yeah, like simple googly eyes, like very kind of nothing really has limbs, just like hands and feet. Very kind of oddly dressed, and then also like the backgrounds, it's all very kind of medieval Renaissance-ish kind of looking, and has that kind of psychedelic kind of look to it, and that psychedelic kind of humor. Man, I didn't realize that took 2 years.
2 years, like just for that one little animation.
That's really brutal.
Yeah, I mean, he must have sent it away to like a lot of festivals. I'd be ashamed if he didn't, because it's really really good. Of course, you can tell he's taken a long time to actually make it. But yeah, also I wanted to say, just going back more to like good animated films in general.
Yeah.
Have you heard of a guy called Ralph the Movie Maker? If you've ever seen, not to be confused with
hang on a
yourself.
Minute. Wait a minute. When did I become a YouTuber? When did this happen?
So this guy called Ralph, I think he was making the case.
How's Ralph spelled?
It's like same as yours, I believe.
Yes.
And
the correct way.
The best way.
The only
Tell
way.
me about it. Like, I'm like, oh, my name's the right way to spell it. Obviously.
I mean, Ralph with an F just looks weird.
It looks American.
Unless you're like American, or you have like Germanic heritage, or you're like Scandinavian, in which case, cool, on you go. But yeah, Ralph with a PH just feels better.
Wow. Yes.
Wow. Yeah, a W at the beginning.
I'm sorry. Anyway, so I watched this video about how Toy Story is overrated. Like the first one was.
Fuck you.
No, wait. I'm not saying it's overrated. I'm just saying I watched the video and the guy gave some good points. So
okay,
I think he said the first one was pretty good. The second one was all right, but he was mainly taking a dig at Toy Story 3. How I didn't notice how similar like Toy Story 2 and 3 are. But I mean, I think like throughout the whole of it, I was like, well, I still like Toy Story 3 and stuff, and maybe it just does some stuff better than the second one, even though it's like right up there with the first in terms of like ratings on IMDb at least. Yeah, it was kind of weird because I think
is it more to do with like the plot points that it kind of follows?
I think he brought them up as well, but something he mentioned was like the characters, like maybe you enjoy it more because you're attached to the characters, and I thought, well, that's not really a point of criticism, because of course you're going to be attached to characters in a film, and like you want to see them like succeed or fail, depending on how the story is.
Yeah, especially if it's like a long running thing. Like I wouldn't hold like being attached to two characters as a negative if it's a series.
Of course. Like, I had a friend who, like many people, cried at the end of Toy Story 3.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Liam, by the way.
Don't call out people who. It's a sad film, sort of.
I think it's just because I'm a heartless bastard. I didn't cry at the end
fair
of it.
enough.
I certainly felt like bad in another way, because I was like, oh, no more Toy Story.
No more Toy Story.
I liked watching these like plastic characters being thrown about, and like all the things that happen to them in real life, like, it makes it kind of horrifying, because if they were alive in real life, then it'd be like, infinitely worse. But like,
Yeah.
it's just some of the ideas that Pixar play around with, that make it so good. Like, the fact that they're donated to like nursery and they get absolutely fucked, and then there's they have to be given away, or maybe they even destroyed. Like, even though spoiler alert, at the end they were saved.
People have seen Toy Story.
Yeah,
it's
2010, guys. You've had like 7-8 years now.
7-8 years. Yeah, well, like all of that plays on the idea that like you're basically watching something that you associate with your childhood.
Of course, yeah.
Get
like
destroyed or damaged, which is like probably going to cause some pretty unfortunate feelings. Shall we describe it? Like Toy Story would affect me way more if they were pieces of Warhammer. I think
it could work. It could work.
It would really, really, really make me upset. I'd be like, oh no, the Grand Inquisitors couldn't get put into the smelter. Oh no. My wood elf dryads are being eaten by the dog.
What was it? I've been attached to this one teddy bear I got at birth for like life. Of course, I like it's stuffed in the back of a cupboard now. But like, I could kind of, if I saw that being like, burnt to a crisp, I probably wouldn't be too happy. So
this is really bad. But I now just have a vision of you getting. Like
upset.
No, not you getting upset. I just have this image of you like getting an email and it's like open immediately and it's just an attachment and it has a video of this teddy bear tied to a chair and this guy somebody being like, Arran, hand over the money underneath a willow tree or you'll never see Mr. Biggles again. And just moving towards
wasn't Mr. Biggles like the cat and like Austin Powers?
Maybe?
I've got a feeling it was, and I'm sad that I know that, but only because I watched the Austin Powers, like the first one, on loop for ages when I was young.
Yeah, so. I watched it a lot when I was young as well. I imagine...
No, it was Mr. Bigglesworth, that's what
Mr. Bigglesworth, yeah, that's it. I imagined watching Austin Powers films now is going to feel really uncomfortable.
They've aged in some ways.
They've aged in some ways which make you
like
maybe
eggs in the sun.
Like eggs in the sun, like raw meat gestating on a more meat pile.
Like a smoothie of
cowpat in a yogurt.
I wanted to say Coco is right at the top of like high straight animated films at the moment.
I really want to see it.
I do, but like Jesus Christ, it's beaten Spirited's A Way Out. Like they're both an 8.
I mean, this always happens when a new really popular film comes out.
Yeah.
It gets way up the lists of all the greatest films ever made, and it gets anything that's user rated. Like a new popular thing will always immediately shoot up that list. So it's one of the reasons I don't trust user rated sites like IMDb, is because whatever is big and popular will always get will always become a higher rated than anything that's like deserving. That's not to say that stuff that is big and popular and new isn't deserving of being loved.
Yeah.
But when you have things like Coco or like a Pixar film that have just come out and are popular and super highly appreciated by an audience at that time, but like haven't had enough time to sit in like the general film sphere. Like there's just not been enough time to form adequate
an opinion about it. Yeah. And can I deviate for 1 second?
Absolutely.
Talk about Black Panther.
No, because I haven't seen it.
No, it's not bad. It's just like the reception and.
No, I mean. Oh right, so you're not going to talk about the plot?
No.
Go ahead.
It's just like I think it's moronic. I'm sure that this has happened before. Like a lot of people and groups in particular have like gotten angry towards people.
Oh, you mean racist?
Not reviewing it positive. Yeah, not reviewing it positively solely because like they believe it is to do with racism or whatever. And I think that's completely false. But you can't, like, if I see that film and I don't enjoy it, I don't care if like the cast is all white, if it's all black, if it's their sexuality,
Yeah,
whatever. I'm going to review it badly on its merits as a film, not because of its.
If it's if it's a poorly made thing, then it's a poorly made thing, no matter what. But but I mean, like on the flip side of something like that, like Black Panther is all about Black Power. Like, I mean, it's called Black Panther. Like, it's a very deliberate nod to a, like militaristic socialist protest movement in America. Like, it's the title of that character. It represents like one of the strongest and most powerful civil rights movements in the history of America. Like, it's not trying to shy away from racial politics, like, at all. I mean, I haven't seen the film, so I can't.
No, neither have I.
Yes, like I can't speak to that, but like just on the title of the name, the fact that like in the trailers it uses Gil Scott-Heron music, like it's going to try and present African society in this like incredibly positive, powerful way, and in today's current climate, that's gonna get a whole lot of contentious views sprouting up about it. I would personally say, like, hey, if you're one of these people who thinks Black Panther is a bad movie because it happens to have black people in it, then go fuck yourself.
That's just outright racism.
That's just outright racism. Go fuck yourself. Right. And if you think that somebody is negatively reviewing this film or shit-talking it, actually, like, check whether or not they are a verified critic. Like, actually check if they have the credentials to talk about film. And if they don't, then, hey, it's just some dickhead on the internet. And if they do, ask yourself, well, do they have a history of negatively reviewing films that portray African nations as being something positive? And say, like, oh, have they made those films out to be terrible? And if they have, then maybe take a second and think, maybe this person is racist. But if they've, say, I don't know, given like any African film for the last 100 years a positive series of reviews, then maybe they just didn't like Black Panther. And on the top of that, this is just the internet being the internet.
Like, it's at the end of the day, it's just an opinion. So, I mean, No,
Aaron,
I mean,
that's the lazy answer. Take a stance.
No, but at least it's not like, I don't know, the President of the United States or the Prime Minister of Great Britain saying it. It's just some idiot on the internet who...
I can guarantee Donald Trump does not like Black Panther.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, we should probably get back to animation. That's my problem. My bad for bringing up Black Panther.
I forgot. No, hang on. I know a way smoother way we can tie this in. So, Black Panther is a new superhero movie. However, if you want to watch an exceptionally animated superhero movie, I highly recommend checking out The Dark Knight Returns, which is a 2-part series. So not really like a proper film. It's like basically 2 TV movies strapped together.
Never heard of it.
You will have definitely heard of The Dark Knight Returns because it's kind of the comic book that every single Batman film has been based off of for like the last 20 years, pretty much. Like pretty much every single storyline from every single Batman movie borrows something from it. But it's absolutely amazing. It really blew me away the first time I watched it, and partly because the thing about DC's animated stuff is they do a really, really, really amazing job of making everything look like the comic books. They're all drawn in the same way. So, like, everybody's facial features are super sharp. Like, if somebody has cheekbones, like, they have cheekbones. People are, like, square-jawed. The buildings seem really imposing. Like, things seem to move with this really amazing, like, kinetic speed. The frame rate is super high as well. Like, they must have... I cannot imagine how many frames of animation they've drawn for all of the movements, because everything is incredibly smooth. But that to me is like the one of the best Batman films I've seen. And like, that includes all of the Christopher Nolan stuff, which I love to pieces. But the story is a classic, hence why it's probably the most famous Batman story around, and why it's been the inspiration for pretty much every single feature film for 20 years, but it manages to really tap into the absolute darkness of that character in that storyline, whilst also managing to tap into the very serious conversation that storyline presents of a society trying to deal with the fact that, like, Batman's form of fighting crime is basically fascist. Like, he's pretty authoritarian. If you so much as step out of line, like, he's gonna come and, like, beat the shit out of you and then throw you in jail. Like, it's not exactly a noble form of justice. Whereas on the opposing force in the storyline, you have quite funnily, it's Richard Nixon. Oh no, sorry, it's Ronald Reagan, which makes me laugh quite a lot whenever I see him, because he's always presented as being just like a total coward, which is quite funny. But yeah, you've got Superman, who basically works with the American government and is there to try and represent this perfect idea of democracy. And the storyline ties in that perfect idea of American democracy during, the Cold War and, like, fighting against communist Russia. So it's an incredibly complex story thematically, but because it was written in the 80s, something the animated version does, which is I'm an absolute sucker for. It captures that kind of really perfect stylized version of the 80s that's in like neo-noir stuff and like kind of cyberpunky type stuff, where everything's neon like neon signs, neon lit. It's all like super hard shadows. It's simultaneously seeming really futuristic but also being really like grimy and pulpy.
Yeah, I kind of get what you mean. Yeah, like backstreet New York, kind of like
jazz
bar.
Yeah, like a jazz bar if everything was just like vivid purple and red and cast huge shadows and all this kind of stuff. And
awesome.
And like it ties that in with the soundtrack as well, which is so obviously something you don't get when you read a comic book. But the soundtrack's amazing. It's this really awesome blend of a full orchestra, performing a typical, quite bombastic, extravagant piece of symphonic music, but it mixes it in with like 80s techno in a way which
sweet
sort of shouldn't work, but really does in the moments that it kicks in the film.
Batman Ninja, though, have you heard of that? Like,
oh right, yeah, I've seen that. It
does look really cool. Like, I mean, I think the idea, like, I'm like, okay, Batman's a ninja. Is this as good as bad as it's just an excuse for him to be like dressed up in samurai armor? But I think it does look really cool. Comes out in April, like I said.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the way he looks in it.
I think it looks strange because, like, when I was like during the trailer, I was looking at his head and like, okay, it still looks Batman-ish. Like, it could be futuristic armor, but just looking at the poster, it does look really nice and kind of like the idea of like Batman and Joker battling with samurai swords and things like that. Even though the Joker isn't really physically oriented, in most cases, I guess. Like, we saw the end of Batman Arkham Asylum and how that turned out. But
I'm not saying
digressing into video games.
Animation in video games counts. Sort of. It's a thing. It's a thing that happens. Hey man, if Andy Serkis can go ahead and make video games using motion capture, then that counts as animation.
Wait, what was Andy Serkis in again?
He's involved.
Like motion capture.
Yeah, he's involved with Ninja Fury. No, is it Ninja Fury? Who made Heavenly Sword and like Odyssey to the West?
I have no idea.
They made Hellblade.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. It's the same guys made Hellblade.
Studio something.
Studio something. There we are. Studio something. Ninja Fury. Wait, I already said that.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Let me double check this.
No worries.
Ninja Fury Jobs Twitter. Yeah, it is Hellblade. Yeah, there we are. Ninja Fury.
Awesome.
Yeah. These guys are awesome. Yeah, they're absolutely amazing. But yeah, he came on as kind of, I guess, like an acting director for them, and also did a bunch of like facial capture and stuff for them. He's pretty instrumental
Oh,
in.
that's awesome.
Yeah, he's super instrumental in getting their stuff going. Like yeah, works with him for years and years and years.
Like, I'm sure I've seen at least like a video of Andy Serkis like prancing about in, like, motion capture suit. That's why I was kind of like seemed to know what you were talking about at first.
Mm-hmm.
I've at least seen Andy Serkis in a motion capture suit.
Yeah, it was. I remember it being a pretty big deal during Heavenly Sword because he was kind of. It wasn't immediate afterwards, but it was close enough to the end of the Lord of the Rings trilogy that people were still, super excited about this new piece of technology.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's a question, actually. See, with things like that, with like motion capture and facial capture and all this kind of stuff, we have this amazing technology which allows us to change an actor's face or put something else's face on them. For example, you have like the Warcraft movie, not the most amazing movie, but the way they animated the orcs in that was absolutely amazing. And you have things like Avatar as well, with all the actors taking on those roles. Do you think those are as worthwhile or as noteworthy as, say, just a natural performance?
Yeah, because it is still a performance. I mean, they may be in like motion capture suits or prancing about like a big green, I don't know, room, like but from watching like Benedict Cumberbatch, like falling around the floor, with like baubles all around his body and stuff, like it was still a performance. It may have looked cringy as fuck, but it was still a performance.
Was this when he was pretending to be Sherlock Holmes?
No. I'm pretty sure.
No, I know. It was Smaug, wasn't it? It was Smaug. Sorry, in The Hobbit.
Yeah. When I found out though that he actually voiced Smaug and that Martin Freeman as the Hobbit,
it's a good double act. It's a good double act. It's a pretty like neat little funny hidden cameo.
Yeah, like when I heard that Benedict Cumberbatch like auditioned for it, like the actors, someone had to be a fan of Sherlock. To actually cast him and be like, okay, we have Martin Freeman, we've got Cumberbatch, voicing the dragon. The only thing lacking was like a Sherlock joke, but that's probably not appropriate considering like
you wanted him to come in and you wanted him to come in and see Smaug wearing a little hunter's hat, smoking a pipe, and
he just starts telling Martin Freeman about like his sister or something. So that's what he did in the first episode.
Yeah,
like, why does this giant dragon know about my sister that doesn't exist?
Yeah, like the Hobbit walks in and he's like, I see you've travelled 300 miles. I can tell from looking at your feet. On the bottom of your feet is the soil taken from... I fucking hate this internet.
Sorry, folks.
Technical difficulties. I'm going to put this one down to a lot of people in my living room watching Netflix.
Damn it, just like bang on the door and be like, no. Stop watching Mad Men.
No, I can't do that. Hey, if they were watching Mad Men, I'd let them keep doing it. By the way, keeping with in keeping with animation, which we're definitely doing because we're amazing at keeping things on point. I absolutely adore Mad Men as a TV show, and one of the things that makes me feel incredibly excited anytime I watch it is its opening credits title sequence. Which is like this absolutely gorgeous, hyper-stylized, animated, kind of 45 seconds that comes up, before the episode begins. And it's of the silhouette of the main character, Don Draper, sitting down in his office. And then as he sits down in his office, which is all very minimalist, it's not like a highly detailed wall or anything, it's literally just like a black line going up to show you the corner of a room. So it's all kind of wireframe. And you have, like posters from different like 60s styled adverts. And what he does is the whole building like breaks apart. Like all the little wires like break apart and he like starts falling down the side of the building, which has all of these giant moving old like 60s adverts for like different types of whiskey, and they have like glamorous women and all this kind of stuff, and he kind of falls through them as he like plummets to the pavement.
I really want to watch Mad Men now.
It's so good, it's so good. But yeah, I mean, like just before he hits the pavement, this really kick-ass like drum beat kicks in, and it cuts back to him sitting down on his chair from behind with like a glass of whiskey when Mad Men comes up in giant red letters above him. It's really neat, and it's always made me think that TV shows could really use animated opening sequences and title sequences, because like I love animated title sequences. There's just something about them that I absolutely love. Like one of my favorite title sequences ever to anything is the title sequence to Catch Me If You Can.
Okay. But, yeah. What does it? I don't know. Feature them, or how does it go?
It's again, it's very kind of old retro. It has that quite nice transition where, say, you have like a rectangular line that's showing you something, like it could be a doorway or a pavement or something that another animated character is walking along. But then it kind of grows, and then as it grows, the camera will then like tilt and pan with it, and then it becomes a street, and then it loops and curves up somewhere else, and it becomes a road, and it's all just like 2D from the side. And it's the kind of title sequence where like every object then morphs into a new object that bleeds into something new. It's really, really cool. It's really kicking ass.
I'm looking at pictures of it just now, and it looks like quite cool and minimalist and kind of almost James Bondy.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Even though James Bond didn't like do it first or anything, but that's like the thing that pops into mind.
Yeah, it's that kind of like old 60s style like that I absolutely adore. And the thing I love about like a little animated sequence like that for a title sequence is, I think they put you in the mindset a lot better than if you're just putting up, say, a title card, or if you're just putting up, a little sporadic few seconds of footage from the TV show. Like how a lot of TV shows have that thing where it's like, and starring, and then it shows you the character turning around and looking at something, which I hate. I prefer it way more when it has this piece of animation at the start, which puts me in the mindset, which reminds me of all the themes of the film, because, something that is pretty key to animation, one of its defining attractions, is that if you are extremely good at it, you can express almost anything you want, doing anything. Like
it's amazing what you can do with animation.
It's easy to evoke anything.
Have you ever watched a guy on YouTube called Harry Partridge? He made a video called
In a Pear
Dr.
Tree?
Bees. No. You'd think, but no. His animated videos are like really funny. I think they're brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
You should definitely check them out. You won't disappoint. You won't be disappointed again. But
cool.
He has a video called "With Animation You Can," and it's basically just him like creating some really stupid ideas with animation, but it's brilliant. Like like a dinosaur with, I can't remember, like laser beams or stuff like that, and just doing some mental things.
Cool, I'm on board with that.
It shows you what you can do with just like even digital animation or hand drawn stuff. You can really make some cool creative things. Like for a while I was like, okay, I'm probably never going to get into animation. I don't. It's not really my thing. But stop motion, like from watching some of the stuff in college, like that one of our lecturers were showing us, I thought it was amazing. Like, I don't think you were around, Ralph, but there was some really cool videos.
Around in college, me? No, Arran. I am a professional who's completely qualified to talk about all things media. I'm not a simple student. Neither are you. You are also a professional.
I am also a professional student. It's not like I show up whenever I
feel like Arran. You're a director. I've seen you direct. You were a director. You weren't a student.
Damn.
I'm a music man.
Foiled again.
They know our secret. Cancel everything. Joe, they're onto us. Come back, Joe. Be our editor. Please help.
Joe, help. Things are falling apart.
Joe, help. Be the editor. I don't know how to do this.
Descend into hell again. Help. But
again.
Yeah.
When did you descend into hell before?
Didn't I say I was? No, I said I was ascending into heaven or something at the start of the video, and now I'm descending into hell.
Oh God, I'm sorry I've done this to you. I'm so sorry I've done this to you. That's quite a turn.
It's my own fault.
Oh no.
For going off on a wild tangent about animation and Black Panther and God knows what, but like I think if I was ever to make like just a little thing about animation just for fun, like stop motion, like seems really appealing to me. I mean, not that drawing isn't, but I'm just fucking god awful at it. Leave it to the professionals, the Miyazakis and the Felix Colgraves out there.
Nice.
You can, what else? What else? Do you think we should talk a bit more about like digital animation?
I don't really know enough about it. I mean, I've seen Spirited Away. No, wait, that's not the name of it. Spirit Within. I've seen the Final Fantasy film. That was digital. I've seen it when I was like 10.
Isn't that awful?
It's a very bad film. I mean, I loved it as a kid, but yeah, it's very bad.
Have you? I was just going to ask you, like, do you have a favorite animated film though? Just along those lines.
Of all time.
At the moment, yeah, because I don't know. I doubt something new and breathtaking will be round the corner, but could be.
I've seen some like pretty good stuff recently. The Red Turtle film that I mentioned earlier is really, really very beautiful. It's definitely not what I would call an absolute, top 10 favorite. If I was going to choose like animated films that are close to my heart, Akira is definitely one of them. I love Akira.
Yeah.
I would put Princess Mononoke up there, like right up there. A lot of it has to do with personal feelings of, first incredibly well done animation I saw as a child, and it kind of introduced me to a lot of different types of filmmaking that I loved. It introduced me to like other countries' mythology, like I'd never thought about like Japanese gods or demons before, and suddenly it was like, holy shit, every country has amazing myths and legends that I can look at and love and learn from and get completely freaked out by. But
I get what you mean. You can learn like a lot from just like a simple story because you're captivated by the animation as a kid.
It's animation as a kid, and then on top of that, like myths and legends are something that I've always found really fascinating in folklore, and there's a reason they've stuck around for thousands of years. It's that like they're all incredibly relatable stories. Like, you can make monsters and gods represent whatever you want them to represent, and you can pretty much tie in any theme you want to a modern equivalent. So those stories just live on forever and ever. And the thing I love about watching like Japanese animation that deals with that kind of stuff, or like Germanic animation, or anything from like Latin America, is you see all of these myths and legends, and you can almost start to piece together the history of a place, of like a different culture. And you can, even if you can't do that, you start to try and figure out in your own mind why this monster exists, or like why this creature exists. It's like, for example, I really love The Witcher, Polish series, and there are creatures in that called drowners, which are like bloated corpses of fishermen who have drowned. And all of their features, like, they're pretty gross. And like all of their
it
features,
sounds cool, but like screwed up at the same time.
I mean, all legends are pretty screwed up, and it's like really fascinating seeing that, because I'm like, oh, we don't have like a monster like that in our folklore. Like, we don't have a monster that is made of like dead men who drowned, who come back to drag you to the ocean.
Jesus, they do look pretty.
Yeah, they're horrible, and like we don't have that in British culture. Or at least, we might, like an island somewhere, Western Hebrides or something might have something along those lines. But we don't really have that. But then I started to piece it together, and I was like, well, like, in Greek mythology you have things like sirens. But those are like a way more romanticized thing, where they're like beautiful women who sing songs to lure ancient Greek sailors, so they can dash their ships on the rocks and then like sink into the sea, and like men are allured by them and they're drawn to the water in this very kind of like lustful way. And I love like trying to figure out like why is there that difference in those cultures? Like why is one of them based upon absolute fear, and it's this terrifying sea monster that's there to drag you to the bottom. It's something you don't want to happen. It's something that's going to destroy you. And in the Greek version of that type of monster, it's something that lures you. It's something that's really enticing. And like I love trying to figure out like why there's that difference. Like why is one treated almost like a positive thing? Like myths and legends, not animation, but
must
great.
Be about people though, because they make it up in the first place, and maybe they have like a lack of imagination from. Like, okay. I don't know. I don't want to make any claims or anything.
A lack of imagination. They just came up with a bunch of cool monsters.
I like in some respects, like I don't know, coming up with like women who draw you into the water so they can like.
It's quite lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you be more creative?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It is kind of like a.
Yeah,
I mean, in fairness, that is a go-to thing in like every single type of storytelling ever told anywhere. Is like, better watch out for women. They'll draw you in to do dangerous things.
They'll poison you. They'll dash your ship on the rocks.
They'll dash your ship on the rocks.
Children. Jesus Christ, this is we're cut. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's multiple thousand years of sexism, just creating lots of stories in every single culture telling us women can't be trusted. It's total bullshit.
Anyway, have you seen a film called Song of the Sea? Because it's definitely up there in terms of like my favourite animated films.
Song of the Sea?
Yeah.
I recognise that name. I don't think I've seen it.
It's a gorgeously animated film, and I saw it when I was like volunteering in a cinema in my hometown, and it's so goddamn beautiful, and the story's like really touching, and it's a shame because I don't think it did well financially, but it's definitely a film you should watch because like you'll be like, how the hell is this not more popular?
What's it about?
So there's this. It starts off by this family. I believe they move to this remote little island where there's the dad's job is on there. Is like he operates the lighthouse. The mother and the son and the daughter.
Oh, I have heard of this.
And then the mother it's implied that she puts on this coat and she walks into the sea and you think she's drowned herself or something, but it's way more like spiritual. And then the father rushes out to save her, but all that's left is this child wrapped in like the same white cloths that the mother was wearing because she was pregnant. And then it skips to years later, and what was it? They're fed up of I think they're taken to live with their grandmother instead, and they want to go back to the lighthouse. So basically, they decide to run away from their grandmothers and go on this big long adventure to get back to the lighthouse from where they live. I've not seen it in ages, so I might be wrong about certain details, but it's just beautiful. Some of the details they have, like there's certain characters you're like, oh wait, these were these people in the film, like they're family members, and now they're these weird looking spirits and stuff, and they're represented in the movie like this, and it's really cool because you're like, oh wait, that's the grandmother, and she's this.
Oh, cool! So it's like
owl.
Oh, okay. So it's transformations of different characters to represent kind of different things and different themes.
Yeah,
That's
and
neat.
What was it like? They go into just a normal forest and there's broken up TVs and stuff.
Okay.
And rubbish and everything, and then they stumble upon I don't know, a little camp or house or something, and then they go into it and they're taken into a cave where this guy dwells who has insanely long hair that covers the entire cave.
Okay.
And he has an extremely long memory and stuff, and it's crazy because it's like they're going between two different worlds and they're meeting all these familiar looking characters, at least to us.
And
there's a lot of lore in it from, I think, Irish lore. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay, neat.
I think it's based in Ireland anyway, but if I could recommend any film for you to watch, or even the viewers, Song of the Sea is brilliant. And I know when a couple of friends and I saw it at the Sunday cinema that I used to volunteer at, we just made a bunch of jokes about it as well. We'd since it's in Irish, we were like cool, like we're pronouncing.
Sorry, what? Like, was that you trying to do an Irish accent?
I think we were just doing it because it was out of the absurdity. Because like say for like some of the situations they were in the movie, and then they call on the dog, which is called Coo, which is why I was sounding like an idiot earlier.
Oh, I thought. Sorry, I thought you were trying to say cool. Okay.
No, there's a dog called
Okay,
C,
sorry.
and then it's
Sorry,
funny.
I thought you were just saying the word cool in like a really weird way. Right, okay, okay.
No.
Okay,
There's
no,
a
okay,
big
yeah, I get
shaggy
you.
dog in it called Coo, but
Cool, okay.
it's a brilliant film. I
No, that
absolutely
sounds
love
awesome. No, I'm definitely gonna note that down.
it. Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
just the
I
way you were describing that, kind of touches on one of my favorite things about animation, is that when you hear somebody try to describe an animated film that's really exceptionally inventive,
it's very like
it's like the description can sound mad, and like it can sound madder than what you'd normally find in a traditional film, something that's filmed in live action. And the reason for that is because, as they say, like, the only limit with animation is your imagination.
Yeah.
And what that leads to is a situation where the best animated films I find are the ones which understand that entirely and know how to play with what you are seeing and what you are hearing. Like, I find animated films that take place in real world environments quite dull, if I'm honest.
Yeah, like why take place in New York when you
Yeah,
can like
you
take
can-
place in a mystical forest?
You can
with, like,
do this
weird
anywhere.
trees?
Yeah, like you can do this
Yeah.
anywhere, and like all you're doing are just drawing normal things that I could see in my everyday life. And you can do it with like the simplest of things. It's like you could even do that by painstakingly hand drawn, where you and a team of artists take years and years and years to create these incredible tableaus, or you could invest in this amazing digital technology and spend years perfecting it, or you could spend decades of your life working with clay trying to shape everything very slowly. And then on the flip side of that, a little animated film that I'm going to recommend to you, Aaron, because I think
I'll jot this down because I was going to say I have a massive list. I've made
all as
recently.
film lovers do.
It's got Goodfellas on it, which some of these I've watched. Moon, Black Cat, White Cat, 12 Angry Men.
12 Angry
Network,
Men is
Barry
so
Lyndon.
good.
It is. I watched it recently, and Jesus Christ, it's so bloody good. I love it.
It's exceptional.
Yeah, for 1957, like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
and Sidney Lumet's first film.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I realize a lot of directors make like some of their best films well early on. Like you've got like Spielberg making Jaws at 23.
Yeah.
You've got
Quentin
I
Tarantino,
guess-
who only made Reservoir Dogs and then fucked up
Yeah,
the rest of
yeah,
his career. Sorry,
Um,
everyone.
It is true though. I mean,
I
like,
hate Quentin. Anyway, sorry, carry on with your list.
as much as I would like to weigh in on this. Yeah, sorry. What were you going to recommend though?
Oh, right, yeah. No, so, yeah, this film kind of touches on what I was saying before, where you can create a lot with very little in animation, and this is the littlest of things you can use to create with, because the whole thing is made with what are basically children's toys.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what you're
You
going to
think
recommend.
you think you know? Yeah, so it's a Belgium film about a cowboy, a horse, and an Indian who live in a flat. and
Just your average day
just
in Belgium.
just your average day in Belgium, and yeah, they're all best friends who live in this flat, and they're literally toys. And when they move, you can totally tell that somebody's just picked them up, tilted them a little bit, put their foot down, tilted them a little bit, and put them back down again. So they all look
Belgium Toy Story. Ladies
Belgium
and
Toy Story. And yeah, the whole film is about the horse whose birthday it is, and the cowboy and Indian want to build him a barbecue, but they accidentally order, I think it's like 1 million bricks to build this barbecue instead of like 10 that they need. So they decide to hide all of the bricks by putting them just on top of their house. and so, and like that's the opening. And like it might not sound like the most engaging plot to a film you will ever see, but it just goes fucking nuts. Like it's one of the strangest films I've ever seen, and you will be transported to like massive snow kingdoms where there are giant mechanical penguins and evil scientists, to underwater kingdoms where there are these like octopus jazz bars, to this school full of different farm animals who are trying to learn different instruments. And
Give me the title already.
it's called A Town Called Panic.
See, you've told me before, but I should have written it down then.
You should have. It is the best. Everyone at home, write it down as well.
I think I scribbled it on a piece of paper.
A Town Called
Panic. That's now like dust at the bottom of my bag, just like everything else.
No, that's fair.
Now it's safely on my digital
digital
list.
Excellent.
Just under just above under Once Upon a Time in New York. So yes,
to once again digress from animation into film. Once Upon a Time in New York is an extremely, extremely good film. It takes way too long to get through the whole thing, and it has one of the single most irritating openings to a film I've ever seen, because it's so fucking annoying, because what it does is it's I can't remember, it starts off, and the whole thing is a mix of flashbacks and the present, and the character in the present hears a telephone ringing, and it triggers his memory of something. And I'm not making this up when I say this, but the telephone rings for like 4 minutes.
Oh, 4-minute ringing?
It just keeps ringing, and it just...
Is it in the background or something?
It's it's the main thing you hear in the sound mix. So all you hear for the opening of this film is just a telephone just fucking ringing over and over and over and over again for minutes on end. And like when he picks it up, like you feel like cheering, like because
it's gone.
It's gone. This noise has stopped. We can finally watch the film. But
telephone hype.
It's just I swear to God, like if you're gonna watch that film, just fast forward it. Like just fast forward
Really?
the first. It's so like okay.
I don't think I could bring myself to do such a thing.
I know it feels like sacrilege, especially when is it Sergio Leone who directs it? Yeah.
I got a feeling it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it feels bad to tell you to fast forward one of the greatest directors of all time, but man, tell you what, you watch it, come back to me, and tell me whether or not you fast forwarded it.
Well, I was actually about to pull up A Town Called Panic to watch it after the podcast.
Nice.
But what do you think I should watch first? Like
So,
tonight, out of one.
Since
or the other.
out. Sorry everyone. I just punched my table next to my microphone.
What did it ever do to you?
No, I was trying to make a statement and I forgot no one can see this. The thing I'll say is, because we were sort of talking about animation, is I highly recommend A Town Called Panic. A, because it's magical and it's beautiful and it's incredibly, incredibly, incredibly funny. The other thing I'll say about it is, when you watch it in the original language, because
the original language. So it's Belgium.
Yeah, in Flemish. So yeah, don't watch it in like an English dub or anything, because
made in Belgium. Sorry.
Yeah. Because there's just something really funny about watching these animals kind of just like not talk to each other, just gonna go I'm not exaggerating when like it sounds like that. It's the people who are doing the voice acting are very clearly just like having such a laugh while they're doing it. And it really fits having to like read these subtitles that don't make sense in this manic film.
Awesome.
It's so good. It's so good. Like A Town Called Panic, kind of the title tells you everything you need to know about this film. It is just
it sounds
insane.
very hectic and
completely hectic, completely fun. It's the kind of film that like I saw it and immediately thought to myself like, why wasn't this a film when I was a child? Like I would have loved this.
Of course, yeah.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
At least other people will probably like grow up with it. I mean,
thank God, it's all about the children.
Yeah, save the children. Give them good films to watch, and not your Big Hero 6s and your Cocos.
I like Big Hero 6.
I thought it was okay. I remember I said that to someone, and they tried to
Betamax is cool, and it does basically, the film is basically a massive, just
Baymax, right?
yeah, Baymax thing, and it just like copies like the plots of like 9 different films. But like, yeah, that's something actually, because I think we should start wrapping up soon, because
Of
we've been
course,
going on for over an hour. But
Hey.
one final point I want to make about animation, because we mentioned kids films. Please stop making really shit animated kids films. Please stop. Like, there's no need.
Do you have some examples? Because like I'm trying to think. Like there's some.
Everything for
Oh
the
wait,
last
yeah.
20
Wait,
years.
Minions. We've got like
Minions,
Despicable Me. The first one I
Despicable
thought
Me,
was. I really like the first one.
Boss
I'm not gonna lie. I
Baby,
really like the first one.
the
Uh,
Emoji Movie.
oh fuck yeah! It's just turning like. Like why couldn't we have more films like Spirited Away? I know you can't sit down and make like a film like that in a week, but like surely you can take the narrative, have a strong female protagonist, like trying to work hard, save her parents rather than some idiot on his phone, trying to get in with some stupid bloody bimbo on her phone. That only use emojis or something like that. Like I said, I've not seen. Oh, sorry, I've not seen the Emoji Movie.
I
But
mean, thank God. But you
my
should.
brain is untainted.
My brain is untainted. The thing I'll say is, I've not watched the Emoji Movie. I keep saying thing I'll say, and I've literally just said the last thing I'll say. But this is the very last thing I'll say. Everybody should go to a YouTube channel called Wisecrack, who do some very good philosophy videos and examine the philosophy of pieces of media. And they have a very good one on the Emoji Movie and how the Emoji Movie accidentally presents living underneath an authoritarian dictatorship as a positive solution. it's amazing to see them be like, the people writing this film didn't realize that their conclusion of their film is it's good to live under an omnipotent God who could kill us all at any point because he doesn't like us. It's like,
Oh my! They've got an accidental philosophy video on the Boss Baby.
oh yeah, so they do. Fuck, that's actually really good. But it made me think, should I watch The Boss Baby? And then I thought to myself, no, I shouldn't watch The Boss Baby.
No, never. You could be doing literally anything else with your time.
Literally anything else. Watch Song of the Sea or Town Called Panic and have a really nice time.
Yeah, it doesn't even need to be a film. Just scour YouTube or the net. Find a funky little animation you like, stop motion, hand drawn, whatever.
Yeah, read a book.
Yeah, take a walk.
Take a walk. Listen to a podcast you really like.
Yeah.
You're doing that now.
New episodes generally Friday.
Generally Friday. I'm not gonna edit this for Friday.
It's fine. We'll be too busy watching Song of the Sea and A Town Called Panic, respectively. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be moving soon, so like.
Oh right, so you are. Oh.
Yes, so maybe I won't get this edited in time. I have no idea. I'll try. On that note, I'm actually going to take a super deep dive and go watch a bunch of animated stuff.
Me too.
Excellent.
I will watch A Town Called Panic. I'm going to do that literally after.
It's so good.
Are you going to watch Song of the Sea at one point? You should. It is so good.
Man, you know what I'm realizing? I'm realizing like how difficult it is for Joe to finish this when he hosts.
Sorry?
I'm realizing how difficult it is for Joe to finish this when he hosts. Because,
When?
like, whenever he hosts a podcast, because we both talk too much.
Oh yeah, good point. We just start going off about a tangent about something people totally care about, like Black Panther's.
We talk way too much.
Yeah.
I'm leaving that in, man. That's important.
It's almost like a podcast is about talking. Damn it.
I know. How do people do this professionally?
Yeah, I've seen some of the like heavily scripted stuff, and it seems it's amazing how fluently they make it. But I love watching some of the stuff that isn't. Like they go off about a tangent about like just anything.
Mm-hmm. I know this is like counterintuitive. Hey, everybody listening at home, a little bit behind what's it called? Behind baseball, wherever it is the saying is. I actually really want to do an episode on podcasts, which I know is like slightly dangerous because it means people will get things to listen to that isn't us. But, I really want to do an episode of podcasts.
I'd be up for that. I mean, I should probably watch more, but listen to
more.
more. But yeah, I'd be up for that.
Excellent. Excellent. I get to talk
Anyway.
about this great podcast called Munch Media.
Yeah, we just talk about us.
We talk about us for 2 hours. Oh, we should
My mic's dying.
We should never do that. Your mic's dying. That's fair enough. On that note, dying mics and all, thanks for joining us for another Mini-Munch, a little relaxed old sort of talk about animation.
At least half.
Half talk about animation.
Half to 75% is about animation.
About animation. So join us for next episode, which will be properly edited by someone else.
Catch you guys later.